Okay. And then, all right, let me just, as usual, just make sure I am in the group because um, that's my worst nightmare. All right. All right, here we are here. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon here on the East Coast. Welcome to Real Estate Coffee Talk.
Love it.
Love it.
Coffee,
Oh,
please.
this is my girl, Holly McCrory. So, if you read her name as Halle, you would be wrong.
No, it is Halle.
It's, oh my gosh. Okay, so it's
I know
Halle.
it's so confusing. Everyone gets, yeah. I
Oh
always
my
just
God.
tell people like Halle Berry.
Oh,
It was
yes,
easier
true.
before. My
You told
maiden
me
name is Beeler, so everyone was like,
that.
"Oh, Halle Beeler, Halle Berry."
Oh, yes,
Now it's
see.
McCrory, so
Oh,
I
okay, now
still
I
use it
remember,
though.
Halle. You did tell me that, and I can't remember. All right,
Oh no,
Halle.
you're good. Everybody, I swear, everybody does it.
Well, it like where I grew up in New York, so everyone says, Sarah's like the most basic name ever, right? But
Yeah.
everyone up north, like we say Sarah, but
Yes.
down here it's like a Sarah. So
Yeah.
every time I'm at Starbucks, whatever, and I'm like Sarah, they write in my cup like Sally. I've gotten everything, but
Oh yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
they're yeah.
I
People
throw
don't
them off.
understand that
And I'm like,
the New
it's a
England
lady's
area.
name. I know. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Everyone here, this is Halle McCrory. I'm gonna let her tell you a little bit more about herself, but she works out of Texas,
Mhm.
and she won't brag about this, but I will. She is most known probably for selling 100 homes in her second year of real estate, which is about 95 more than I sold in my second year of real estate. So I'm gonna kind of let you go through, tell us a little bit more about kind of who you are and then how you got into real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. So like Sarah said, my name's Halle McCrory. I am a realtor and team lead in San Angelo, Texas. Just recently started working the Dallas area as well. My two siblings in law both live in the Dallas area, so we are there quite a bit. They're in real estate as well. My husband's a builder, so it's just kind of a family affair.
Family business.
Empower Real Estate Group is my team name. And I have our little handles plugged in at the bottom if you want to follow us too.
Yeah.
But yeah, known for selling about 100 homes a year in small town, about 100,000 people. It's been a wild ride. I'm in my fourth year, or I just hit my 4 year mark in real estate. So it's been crazy, getting in. It was a pretty steady market, but then we went through COVID. That happened almost like just 6 months into me
Right
getting
away.
licensed. And that was a wild ride. Now we're going through the shift. So I'm like, this is my first, like, really big change in real estate.
Yeah.
So it's been very exciting to watch. And it's kind of cool to be a part of. I think this will be a big part of history. So,
Right. So
yeah.
many, I mean, like I feel so I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, everyone who got in at, but right before COVID, they never had to work for their deals. And I think that's just the dumbest thing, right? So
Yeah.
there was a lot of business going on, but there was also a lot of agents in the mix. And there was a lot of like fighting. I mean, I know I had clients, but just because I had clients doesn't mean I was getting closings. Like
Right.
it was
Right.
killer to try to actually win offers and all that. So you kind
Yeah.
of got in and have rode a lot and have proven yourself.
Yeah,
So
well, and if you're a new agent going into that market, a lot of times you're working with buyers off the start, and
right.
I mean that was hard to have
Yeah.
buyers during that period. I mean, it was a lot of heartbreak with multiple offers, and like trying to learn how to be strategic with those. But I think that made everybody that stuck it out that much better. So
Right. You definitely had to be creative during that time.
yes,
So I actually think the opposite. So really quickly before we talk about the 100 homes, because I really want to know, but
yeah,
what made you, I know you said your husband was a builder and he kind of has a family in real estate. What made you
yes,
decide, because I know you went to, I believe, Wake Forest, like you're
yes.
from the North Carolina area. So what made you decide I'm going to become a realtor?
Yeah, I actually never really considered it. growing up, my mom was a real estate agent. She was a mortgage lender at one point as well. She was actually a lender during '08 as well. So she's got
My
some
gosh.
crazy stories.
War
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah. I guess I always thought I had to do the corporate route just because I went to school. Like, I'm like, why would I take 4 years and get this degree, pay all
Right.
this money, not use it, right? So I did tech sales for Oracle for 2 years, did pharmaceutical sales for 1 year, and I didn't love either of those, although it was great. I wouldn't trade anything that I did. Great experience, and I succeeded. Did very well in those positions, but just was missing something, and I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
And so, about a year into doing pharmaceutical sales, got laid off. They did a company merger and got rid of more of the rural suburban areas,
Oh,
and that just I figured out that was very common to happen in the pharmaceutical industry,
yeah.
and I was like, I already don't like this. I don't want to be in this position of always being laid off or like being traded around and stuff. It was very stressful. But I had just moved from Austin, Texas to San Angelo, Texas to be with my husband.
Yeah.
And I looked around. Remote jobs weren't as popular then,
Right.
and I really didn't know where my next position was going to take me because there wasn't a lot of opportunity at that time in San Angelo for you know things that I wanted to maybe do.
To do.
But with
Right.
my husband being a builder, he's all custom homes now. But at the time, he was doing all flip houses,
Oh,
so
yeah.
he was generating a lot of listings. And they had a partner at the time, but he was like, "Well, why don't you get your license and come work with me?" And I was like, what? I can't do that. Like, I need to do a corporate job. I
Right.
never wanted to get into real estate because I always thought it was boring from my mom talking about it and stuff. And I don't know. It was just kind of a mindset block. But the more I really thought about it and what it would really entail, I was like, I actually think I could be really good at this. And it was working through that mindset of feeling like I had to do a corporate job just because I went to school. Um, so yeah, it was I don't
Yeah.
know, it just,
There's a ton of people. I think,
yeah,
I get that mindset, like, "Oh my gosh, I went to 4 years to this. I
yeah,
spent," Wake Forest is obviously an amazing school too, so you got your degree from here.
and
But
expensive.
right, right, and the time you spent, but it's also,
Yeah,
like, I bet you all those things, what you learned there and what you learned in pharmaceuticals and all that, because that's
yeah,
not an easy career,
right.
kinda prepped you to do well here. So leading into this, while I, re-plug in my laptop
Yes. Oh, you're
because
good.
my charger's not working, tell us kind of that story of your second year real estate. So where
Yeah,
did you find that business? How did you close? I'm listening. Go ahead.
yeah. So, I guess, I had just really I've been in San Angelo about a year, but wasn't there a ton because, my pharmaceutical job had me traveling a lot.
Yeah,
So I was obviously nervous, I didn't know a lot of people yet. It's not a town that I'm from. I'm like, I start thinking about the negatives the disadvantages I had. And I'm like, you know what? No, I can't be like that. I got to think about, where I can fit myself into this market. And I guess just being in a smaller town, a little bit more rural than other towns in Texas. Social media wasn't really being worked into real estate that much yet at that time, or at least in this market. And I decided, I'm like, I've been, I don't know, I guess just being a millennial, social
yeah,
media has just always been kind of a way of
there.
life since I was a teenager. I mean, we had MySpace and it was Facebook, and then
Right,
Instagram came out when I was in college, so I was already using that every day just for fun.
right.
And yeah, just like decided to really harp on that. And I can't remember, where I heard this, but I really just decided to be like I wanted to have the mindset of like going in trying to be the mayor of the town.
Yeah, like the
I'm like,
digital
I
mayor.
gotta, yeah, like
Yeah,
going out there. My mentor says it now, but she's like, you got to get out there and kissing babies, shaking hands,
yeah,
just super funny. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, but that's that. So it was really all for me, like social media and networking. and really just diving into those too. I guess I didn't know this about myself, but I guess it kind of goes back into being in my corporate days. Like I realized I was missing. I always was trying to like give ideas to the marketing teams. Just being on the sales side, you really like are in tune with what marketing needs. It's very sales and marketing goes just hand in
Right.
hand. You
Yeah.
gotta,
They're
yeah,
closely
it's that
related.
integration is crucial.
Right.
And I realized I liked having that creativity over the marketing,
Yeah.
and really I leaned into branding very heavy too, which has come in like really helped me long term. I think for my real estate career. Um, but yeah, it was really so I went heavy in on social media marketing. I guess those. So I got licensed in July of 2019 and really took the rest of that year like building my business tools and branding and stuff, like
Right.
working on that while I was a little bit slower getting started.
Yeah.
um, and obviously I had some help. I had some listings off the bat from my husband, but um, you know I
But
guess
still,
starting off I
need
really,
100.
yeah, I
Yeah.
I did not take those listings for granted. I marketed those heavy because I wanted to see, I wanted to show what sellers, I wanted to show what how I
Mhm.
could market other people's homes too.
Right.
And I'm sure there's haters out there that say my success is just from my husband's. I mean, that's only a third of my business,
There's
maybe.
always
Yeah.
there's always gonna be a hater.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so that's interesting. So I guess 2 questions. One, like, what platform do you think you kind of that generated the most of that social media business? And then I know you took a few months to kind of really build that up and kind of create your marketing and your system. So how long did that take you? Because I tell people a lot of times, like, social media or specifically like paid ads and stuff, it's almost like putting popcorn in the microwave. This I got this from like a business coach I had, but
Yeah.
for a while you're just watching the little table turn, right? Like nothing's happening, but it's continuing to warm, and then all of a sudden like one pops off and then another, and then all of a sudden it's like rapid
Yes.
fire, right? Which is
Yeah.
really how marketing works. But agents I find are can be like short-sighted. So they don't want to continue in one way. So kind of how long did it take for you to see the results of all that work you put in?
Yeah. I would say I would say probably be I guess maybe like Q2 or Q3 of that next year, like 2020.
Right.
So I guess I got licensed in July. I mean, I started getting like busier with stuff maybe by like November, December of
Right.
2019, and then by 2020 March, like when COVID rolled out, I would say probably about then, and then just that market really. I'm sure it was kind of timing too. That market really popped off as well. But I guess I really, I mean, I started. I figured out pretty soon on that Facebook groups was going to be a big part of my business.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so, and I know I told you a little bit about that.
Yeah.
That's kind of like I worked on branding. I guess I really honed in on Facebook and Instagram at that time. I mean, we didn't have TikTok yet,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
that was
Or
coming.
even reels, even like the reels side of Instagram
That wasn't out
wasn't
yet.
there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is wild because it feels
Yeah.
like a lifetime ago, but it was
And
only
really, even video hadn't really wasn't
right,
like being harped on so much yet.
right.
So it was a lot of, carousels. There was some video, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the carousels, I would say really, I think the Facebook marketing and Facebook groups is what really helped.
So I'm curious about that,
Yeah.
right? Because I know a lot of groups like so for example, my neighborhood group or like local moms groups and all that stuff, a lot of
Yeah.
them have well, I guess you can one or the other. They're either very strict about you can't post this, you can't post that, you can't post this, or it's like a red ocean, right? Where it's just like blood everywhere because the shark,
Spammers.
okay, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like there's 300 real estate agents in there. So when someone posts, "Hey,
Yes.
I'm thinking of moving to San Angelo," there's 100, right? So how
Yes.
did you utilize, like, did you have your own Facebook group or did you have kind of like a good strategy outside of
Yeah. Initially, I just posted in other groups, and a lot of, again, maybe like in a town or like a city like Charlotte,
Right.
agents were already doing this, but a lot of agents weren't utilizing this. And we had a lot of older agents too who maybe weren't even really using Facebook or
Familiar.
like
Yeah.
even thinking about that. So,
Right.
um, not that it has to be older or younger. That's
Yeah, they're just
typically of what I've
used to
seen.
running their
Yeah.
businesses. Yeah.
I guess I really leaned on. I guess this is what I actually like my formula at that time.
Yeah.
Um, I I would make a like make a listing post on my Facebook and Instagram,
Mhm.
and obviously, like that's the first step. But then I would share that Facebook post link to Facebook groups, and I kind of like know my audience on it. Like our town of San Angelo is very affordable market. Our average price range at that time was probably 200,000, maybe a
Mm,
little bit less.
yeah.
And now it's like probably more like 250-ish. Um, so still very
Still very
affordable.
affordable.
I really leaned into. I started hearing about like zero down payment loans. Obviously, there's FHA 3.5% down,
Right.
even some conventional 3% down ones. I really took the time to connect with lenders on that. And I started, so I would share the Facebook link to my listing, share it to the group, and say, like literally something like this. Uh, zero down payment available for this property, down payment assistance available, DM for more info. And nobody had really been promoting that. So it
Right.
was just like, it was an influx of so many people in San Angelo who were interested in this
Oh,
opportunity. We have a lot of people who are interested in like owner finance and rent to own. And I think I was able to capture a lot of those, that market. Um,
especially
and
because those
even so,
rates
like,
just dropped
yeah,
too.
like
The rates dropped, so now home ownership became
more
affordable.
affordable than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's still there's still like yeah, a lot of agents are doing this now, but I still think this is a great like strategy. You could use
Right.
this for luxury, you can use this for different niches. I knew my market, and
Right.
like this was a lot of the homes that my husband was selling too.
Yeah.
So just move in ready affordable properties. There was that was already low inventory as well for that.
Yeah.
So I it really wasn't anything like I just kept it simple,
Right.
honestly. I
Well,
felt
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said you knew your market, because I kind of always drive this home in my Facebook group and Instagram and everything is like
Mhm.
niching down in your marketing, because when you, for example, if you're like, well, let me just put this home out to everyone. Those first time home buyers, if you would have just posted a link to the house, those first time home buyers may not have ever reached out to you because you
Yeah,
weren't speaking right to them. They may have seen, oh, 300,000, but your average person isn't following what the interest rates are doing on
right.
a week basis, right? So they may not have ever known, hey, this is more affordable, or all these programs are available. But because you had kind of the wherewithal to be like, all right, I'm going to make this specifically to this audience, whether that's first time home
Yeah.
buyers or luxury or whatever it is, then it speaks directly to them. So it makes it that much more powerful
Yeah. Yeah,
because,
and then I mean, there just wasn't as much competition on social media as
right,
well. So it was
right,
just like I kinda got that branding aspect down. Like I had my colors, I had my same format for my listings every time so people knew it was my
yeah,
listings.
yeah,
And then so that was more of like kind of the long-term gain, but
right.
then, sharing it to the Facebook groups, I got immediate leads as well. So it's
Yes.
kind of like a short-term, long-term
Yeah,
strategy
you kind of
there.
work from both
Yeah,
sides. Yeah.
mhm.
Oh my gosh.
But then, yeah, so like you said, down the line, I started acquiring like just always posting in those groups. I could kind of see like, I would get frustrated because this admin was being slow or like
Proving things.
approving the posts and stuff, and I'm like,
Right.
so I would reach out to them and be like, "Hey, I noticed that you've been like behind on, are you interested in transferring ownership or like, I'm because I'm in these groups all the time,
Right.
I could really handle this and help you." That's kind of where I leaned into starting to make groups of my own. And then, like you said, there are groups where it's very strict and stuff. So I was like, maybe this is something where I need to be the one controlling the groups.
Yes.
Um, so that, yeah, I started getting into that. And actually, I need to give credit to Marty Human. He started the Buzz Formula. I came across, just researching more strategies for Facebook groups. Came across Marty. He's an awesome one. He
Oh, awesome.
started what he calls the buzz method, and basically he just has a whole science down to working Facebook groups. Maybe that's someone that you need to get
Oh,
on
yeah,
as
I'm gonna have
well.
to
But
look it up, and I'll put it too in the
yeah.
comments. It's
Hmm.
really interesting. I don't know her personally, but, I remember when I was first in real estate, I started a group about moving to Charlotte, like,
Yeah.
specifically from New Yorkers, and speaking of short-sightedness, I kind of, like, I wasn't growing fast and I kind of gave up. But then I followed this other agent that was like way South Charlotte, who had also moved here from New York, a different part. And she used to just drive. At first, her group was open to realtors, so I used to see what she was doing. And she just had like a camera position in her rearview mirror. She would just drive through different neighborhoods, talk about like not in a demeaning way, but they weren't like high quality. They were just like off the cuff videos that you would send your friend. But she was consistent with it, and that group, like
Yeah.
she closed so much business because I think she probably started around the same time, like that 2019. She closed so much business just from that group because she stuck with it.
Yeah.
And then if you're going back to that red ocean, blue ocean analogy, but like if you're the only shark in the ocean when the blood drops, it's all yours, right?
Yeah.
So that's a really good thing. So are you kind of like working on your own Facebook group now?
Yeah, so I have, I think, 8 now,
Oh wow. Oh my
and
gosh.
I haven't done stuff with all of them, but I have, like, my own. So I have, it's rent, sell, buy, Concho Valley,
Oh wow.
San Angelo area.
Okay.
So that's like a personal branded group I have. I did end up closing that off to just realtors on my team,
Right.
um, and it's all stuff related, so it's more, like, focused, but then, like, I just so I ended up buying a couple. I was able to take over a couple for free.
Yes.
Now in the Dallas market, I'm doing that, and I'm taking over. I just bought one that has 35,000 people in it, and it's all about jobs in Dallas. And so
Okay.
that's kind of like I'm thinking kind of ahead where
Great.
they're looking for jobs here. I'm going to
So
beat
that
people to the
they can move.
punch and yeah,
Yeah.
and try to get in before they even start thinking about real estate, like,
Yes.
they're just thinking about the job.
Right.
So kinda stuff like that, and then, like, even just changing the cover photo at the top to, my branding. Anytime
Mhm.
anybody creates an event in there, that's, like, the cover photo of it too.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a little
And
bit of,
people
like,
don't realize
advertising.
that brand awareness over time is really, really powerful
Yeah,
because it's just, in their head now when they think about real estate, they're like, "Oh, that empowered group. I've seen her stuff."
yeah,
You know, and
yeah,
1000% yes to shutting other agents out. Like I have talked to so many agents who they feel bad, they've maybe let other agents in or they've gotten bullied by other agents to get in. And they're like, well, I don't want to. I'm like, you don't, listen, I
it's a
feel like
business asset.
it's just business.
You don't
Yes,
let other agents into your
into the
CRM.
CRM. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's why I was like, you don't have to feel bad.
yeah,
It's just business. It's not personal. They can start their own group and,
right, yeah,
just is what it is. I have to, even in my marketing group, I don't allow lenders in. I don't allow other digital marketers in because for the same reason, like it's your house. You have to
yeah,
protect.
yeah.
So there's nothing mean about it.
Yes,
Um,
no, not at all. I love collaborating with other agents. I have other groups that agents are allowed in.
great.
There's just
Just not
it's
my
just
league.
kind of seeing which ones do better, and so you gotta be able to test that and
Great.
stuff, and I mean, like I said, it's a business asset. It's like a CRM right there.
Great.
So
Yes.
and Facebook has all these different features to really set it up like that. So
Yeah, so I guess that's kind of my next question from them. This wasn't on our little list, but I'm going there.
yeah.
With all these groups, are you managing them yourself? Like, how do you? I have one Facebook group, for the marketing, and I'm like, whew, like,
Yeah.
so are you managing them on a day to day? Is your team helping you? Like, how are you kind of keeping those alive?
Yeah, so then that's actually like something I literally just uh, took the reins on last week.
Yeah.
So on that personal branding group for just rent, sell, buy, like it's specific to housing.
Yeah.
I have an operations manager. One of her jobs is anytime she accepts people in, and then she immediately messages them like, "Hey, welcome to the group. What are you looking for?" And actually, so that's what I have for that one.
Right.
And that one's pretty easy to manage. But then I have other like swap and sell groups that it's just ones that I haven't even done anything with
Right.
yet.
Yes.
We're gonna end up transitioning them to like moving to San Angelo or living in San Angelo, small businesses in San Angelo, jobs in San Angelo, stuff like that. Um, I actually got with another girl who's part of Marty Human's group, and you can. She basically has. I'm going to basically be paying a virtual assistant to help me manage them.
Okay. All right. Yes, that's because I'm
Yeah,
like, there's just no way. It's
it's a lot of
it's
like
not
weeding
hard
out
work. It's
spam
a
and
lot of
stuff. Yeah.
right. It's a lot of tedious work. And one
Yes.
of the business coaches I follow, and she's not in the real estate world, but she talks about like she has a group of like 300,000 people that she gets
Hmm.
all of the business from. And one of the tips that she gave that really stuck out to me specifically for my group, and I've been trying to switch over to this, is you need to see your group as like you are the host of the party, right?
Yeah.
Rather than you are the performer. Because when I went into my group, it was like me, not that I was putting myself above, but I felt like I had to like entertain everyone, right?
Right.
Because that's how I am in real life, right? So,
Yes. Yeah.
and then I'm creating the post. I'm the first one to comment. I feel like I'm keeping it alive. But in reality, for a really successful group, you got to get to a point where they are just engaging and collaborating and posting with each other. So you are the host of the party. So when you host a party, you're not like on a stage being like, look at me. You are like walking around, making sure everyone's okay, making sure everyone has what they need. I thought that was such a different way to think about it. So I've been also because that takes a lot of like the pressure off your plate to
Yes.
constantly
Yeah.
get this group going because it's exhausting. It's like, how many times can I possibly, but you can't post a house for, at some point it becomes spam.
Yeah.
So if you get them to, engage with each other, talk with each other, ask questions, that's a really good, like, I'm trying to put that into place in my own
Yeah.
stuff. Or
Hmm.
else it's tedious to keep up with. So let's talk about your team, right?
Yeah.
So kind of what made you want to start a team? What kind of got you off on that path?
Yeah. I guess I'll kind of like finish more. It's kind of like a storyline here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess with those Facebook groups, I just ended up like having a lot of people reach out to me. Had just like answers in my notes of just copy and paste like a whole kind of formula,
Right.
just to make it more automated. Because then, at a certain point, I got really busy. You know, just COVID really exploded my business.
Yeah.
And then, I guess with the networking, I was in junior league at that time, did chamber stuff,
Yeah.
went to any like networking events that I possibly could, held my own networking events. So it was a lot of time in my social media, but then also like in-person stuff. So my business got very busy. And it just at a certain point, I couldn't handle everything, all the leads coming in. So that's where I started thinking about the team aspect. And at this point, I was still with my old brokerage. I was with them for about 2 years. I was with ERA,
Okay.
um, national franchise,
Yeah.
and but just the team building a team wasn't as simple as it is for me now.
Right.
Um, so that's a whole nother story, but ended up switching to EXP Realty. Just that was, yeah, 2 years ago, beginning of September of 21.
Okay.
And just with the revenue share aspect, and there's no franchise model. So, you can add people to your team from wherever. So I went
State.
for more of the expansion team route, although most of my team is in San Angelo. Now I can bring people in from wherever. So like I have an
Awesome.
old neighbor of mine who just joined on in Charleston, South Carolina. So
Isn't that
just yeah,
crazy? Yeah. So that kind of allows you to scale your business much faster because I think you and I were talking about this on the phone. But one thing I've seen a lot of since I've been into real estate is there's so many people that they make a ton of money, right? So that 100 homes a year, that's awesome. But I'm sure that on an annual basis, that's not sustainable for you to keep up on your
It's
own.
yeah, I call it the real estate hamster wheel because that
Right.
doing 100 homes a year, and I didn't have, like, a lot of my same, I guess, like, SOPs
Yeah.
and organization that I have now in my business. It was very hectic,
Yeah.
and trying to, like, I mean, bringing on, my assistant at the time, now she's operations manager, but that helped me a lot being able to manage that because she did, transaction coordination, she just did simple admin stuff for
Yeah.
me. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it does this is a
You
very
can't
easy
keep it
industry to
up.
get burnt out in.
Right. And I've seen a lot of people who they are, they've made a ton of money year over year, but they are at now an age or they've been in the industry so long that you would think if they had put in like the right scaling mechanisms into place or built the right team, whatever, that, in at 30 years into the real estate game or 20 years in the real estate game, I'm almost positive you don't want to be like running around opening super boxes and I see so many people like that. And then it's like you're building a business in a way, but it stays as a job instead of a business. So you should
Right.
be able at some point. I'm like, there's so many people who they've definitely made the money, they definitely have the volume to scale,
Yeah.
they don't. So, do you notice that, or do you think people are kind of afraid to hand off stuff?
I think, yes, because 'cause
Yeah,
that's been me.
yeah.
Yes.
So, I'm a
Yeah,
control
but,
freak
at the
too.
end of the day, it's like that's what it takes for anybody to become, like, have a true business and, like, scale
Right,
it. Like, you gotta be able to trust others, and that was the same thing with hiring, an operations manager or
right,
an assistant, like, you have to be able to trust that, at the end of the day, everything's not going to be perfect, and it's not going to always be the way that you want it and the way to do it. But that's what it takes to keep moving forward, and sometimes to keep sane and,
growing. Yeah.
yeah, and to scale.
Because if you could do, I mean, I know it's not normal to do 100 on your own, but even like in a year, if you could do 50 on your own, but with a team,
Yeah,
under you, they
yeah,
do another 50, and then you're getting a piece of that.
yeah.
I mean,
And we do
20
trainings and
years from
stuff
now,
to ensure that quality,
it's still there.
service. Yes, yes,
Right,
absolutely.
right,
Yeah, and so that's where really being, well, one, to help me, manage other leads that I had, and, like, follow up and stuff, because I just that wasn't a great strength of mine at the time because I didn't have the organization in place.
right.
I was just flying by the seat of my pants.
Yeah,
It was a good problem to have, but yeah.
yeah,
So, um, yeah, but then at the same time, it's just always kind of something that I think has been a part of my personality, even, at Oracle, Takeda
mm,
with pharmaceuticals. I was
mm,
always, like, striving to go into more of the managerial roles because I felt like I could always figure out how to become successful in the most efficient way possible, and I
right,
felt like I could easily teach that to others. I think that's just how my brain works,
right.
and, uh
Which is a challenge for some people, some people just enjoy just the day-to-day, go out, meet people, close
yeah,
deals. It's just
yeah, mhm,
kinda what you want. So,
yeah,
how now are you I think you have a team of 16 or 17
17, yeah.
people you said? Okay. So, how are you attracting these people to your team now?
Yeah, I guess really just being able to, one, I'm trying to kind of create like a business in a box right now. Like I said, where I can, organize everything, um, and kind of have like success playbook for others.
Right,
So I just came up with, like a new agent one, but really it could be for even just like new to EXP.
yeah.
EXP itself, the model, that really helps sell people. But again, I'm not the only person,
Well, yeah, like,
recruiting. So
that's what I was wondering is, like, how
yeah,
you stand out because it seems EXP has almost become synonymous for recruiting, right? So, how do
yes,
you, like,
yes,
stand out
yeah,
from the crowd, right? Like, what do you
yeah,
offer to people that makes them be like, "Alright, this
yeah.
is would be the place for me.
Well, that's where Empower Real Estate Group, like I kind of when I so I used to be Hallie's Home. So that was what I
Okay.
came up with when I first, got into real estate. That was my branding.
Right.
And so as we started to add more people here, I was like, I feel like it's hard. I guess a lot of people in real estate have their team or like their name as their team name. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it just didn't I don't know, it just didn't feel
Doesn't jive with you.
yeah, it just wasn't my thing, I guess.
Yeah.
So I rebranded into Empower Real Estate Group, and our mission statement is, empowering not only clients to build generational wealth, but agents too, and
Yeah.
empowering agents to get off that hamster wheel and create generational wealth. I don't know, with EXP, if you guys don't know, lots of stock opportunity, creating a retirement plan for yourself. Um, I really think people have leaned into that. And just, I think being able to teach what I've done in the past. And, I put that out on social media, on my podcast. So that's Sarah's going to be on my podcast as well. So
Yes, you
little
got to listen.
shout out there.
I'm gonna wait, mention the name of yours because I have it in my notes, but I don't have
Yes,
it.
realtor hacks, tips, and tricks.
Yes, so go ahead. Hers is actually in the Apple Store already, so go ahead.
Yes.
Apple Podcast, go ahead and listen
Yep.
to it. I listened to a few episodes with like a lender you had and a couple other people. So
Yes.
great
Yeah.
podcast. Anyway, keep
Yeah.
going.
So I think it's that, and I think it's, you know, I think a lot of people don't know about EXP's model as well. So it's just going out there, like making videos about it, social media posts, and then kind of promoting what I've learned. I think I do kind of have a specific, like with these Facebook groups, not a lot of people are able to educate on that. We're doing a lot of education on creative financing as well, which is becoming popular in the real estate investing world. Um, and then also like for agents, because that's a whole nother topic, but
Yeah,
with creative financing, like I guess if you guys know Pace Morby, he's like the one that's championing it right now.
right,
But he's got a lot of I guess there's a lot of opportunity. Like agents have an advantage getting
right,
into that type of investing. So
right.
I do a lot of education on that as well, which a lot of agents don't know about that, or definitely don't educate on it. Um,
And that's what helps them. I first heard about this because I had a video do really well on Instagram recently, and I had this guy's like, "You should talk less about ChatGPT and more about creative financing." And I was like, "Okay," but I just
yeah,
heard
no,
about it.
it's going to be, yeah,
Looking
I
through
think,
it looks really interesting, but I love that because empower to me, that's exactly what it sounds like. It's like, of course, we're all here. We want to empower our communities to, buy homes, build wealth.
yeah,
But that's a big missing piece for agents. I know I came from like being in a full-time job. So my retirement account was set up for me, my life
right,
insurance was built in, and my taxes were paid. But and then you get here and you're like, oh my gosh, not only do I have to like sell homes and do my own branding and be my own everything.
yeah,
But I also need to figure out, how I'm going to build a retirement account and
yeah,
then who's going to keep track of my expenses, how I'm going to figure out my taxes. It's a big missing like piece for people. So I
yeah.
love that you're kind
Yeah.
of
Well, and
delivering.
that's it kind of plays into just that's what I think that's what attracted me to EXP in the first place is like they have so much of that already set up for you, which
Right.
is definitely different than every other brokerage that I looked at when I was looking around.
Right.
And that's just kind of like one of my core values too. I think only 13% of agents are actually investing themselves.
Contribute.
That's
Yeah.
something that I wanted to push. And I feel like creative financing is going to be a great way for agents to get into that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a whole nother, but yeah, so I do a
Yeah.
lot of education on that. Like we have a guy coming in to kind of talk about wholesaling as an agent as well, on Tuesday to our office. And then I would say just other like there's global marketing opportunities as well that I speak
Okay.
on. So I think it's maybe some of the topics that I've found interest in. Other agents find interest in that as well. So
Yeah, and showing them opportunities that they may not have known
yeah,
existed. How do
yeah.
you kinda keep the team culture when you have people in different states?
Yeah, I would say I guess we all of our team meetings are we have them here at our office in San Angelo on
Yeah,
Tuesdays, but we record them on Zoom. We have recorded like, so we have them on Zoom so other people can join in. But then we record them as well because, real estate agents you never know when a client, yeah. And
Right.
I'm totally respectful of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then we have a team group me that we're always chatting in and very
Oh,
light.
that's
We do team happy hours and stuff. We
that's
do a
the
lot of
stuff that I
events
love.
together. So
Yeah, that's the stuff that I love to see, like, on a team. I think if I would have decided to keep selling real estate, what I would have loved in a team is like just I do really well with like person to person stuff and we're
yeah,
in it together. And so a lot of times I know people who have joined teams and it's basically to have your name on to use
yeah,
their branding and that's it.
yes. Well,
You're
and
not part of
that's a
anything.
big. I did that too. I'll get into that, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, so tell me about it. Like,
Okay.
like, do you find that people join because they want that camaraderie and support, or do you find most people they join just to kind of like have access to you, or
I
it's
think
just their
I
primary
think a
need?
little bit of both. So another thing I didn't mention. So I'm technically not on his immediate team because that's all in Southern California.
Oh,
But
yes.
Tarek El Musa, I'm in his, I guess, downline is what you call it, an organization, the agency. Um, so that's really what immediately like got me to look at the EXP model. Thank
Right.
goodness. I get a message from his account. I'm sure someone he had
Yeah.
on there. Definitely aware of that. But
Yeah.
it still catches your eye like, oh my
Yeah,
God,
of
Tarek
course.
El
Yeah.
Musa. Yeah. So so basically I think so we just have a really big like celebrity real estate organization. So we've got Tarek El Musa, we've got Elena Cardone,
Yeah.
who is wife to Grant Cardone, huge real estate investors.
Right.
We've got Ari Lyondike from The Bachelor, so
Oh,
that's pretty cool. And then like other kind of more real estate celebrities, like if you're not in the industry, you probably don't know them as
right.
well. But Haas Pratt, who is like a huge sales coach, Lisa Copeland, who's my mentor. I'm trying to think of. I know I'm missing someone else.
So people
Yeah,
like you bring
just
in can have access to like not
yes,
access to them per se, but like access
yes,
to the content they're putting out and the
yes. Oh, and Pace Morby's wife, Laura. That's who I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's with Elena Cardone. So yeah, I think it's being able to have access to those because I've had people interview to be on their team and then also with our team and compare, apples to apples.
Right.
And it's like you get all those same resources and the calls and stuff to those meetings and stuff through if you're on my team, but you actually get
Yeah.
more one-on-one time and more attention with me than if you were, trying to be
Yeah.
like direct with Tarek. Like he's
Right,
obviously
right.
very
So it's
busy
kind of
person.
the
Yes.
best of both worlds.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's really that's what I did personally being under my mentor, Lisa Copeland.
Yeah.
Because I immediately started researching like the agency and what I could get out of being with Tarek. But then
Mhm.
I did all the research, talked to Lisa, and I'm like, I get access to Lisa and Tarek now. You know,
Right.
um, it's almost like more
It's
bang for your buck.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, that is a way when I asked you about standing out, that is a way to stand out.
yes,
So,
yes,
in a field of 10 EXP recruiters, that's
yeah,
just extra value you have to offer someone who might be interested in that.
yeah.
So,
Mhm.
I love that. So, you're so young, like in life and in business, right? But obviously have a lot of accomplishments. So, what do you kind of see for your business over the next like 10, 20 years?
I really hope to make Empower Real Estate Group just a household name. I mean that's like a huge goal of mine, of course. Um, but yeah, just keep growing the teams and grow in different markets. It's been so fun, starting out, but I want to make this bigger. Want to have more playbooks for people, almost kind of like what Ryan Serhant's done with Serhant.
Right.
That's what I see that, or that's what I want for myself,
Love
and
it.
just really keep empowering more people, be known as, I want to keep encouraging agents to become investors in themselves. So more, training on that. And really, I see us differentiating with that creative financing aspect as well.
Right.
Um, but yeah, and then like I always want to be selling real estate too. So keep that in the background too. Just to keep a
Just
pulse on
keep
stuff,
us
and
exactly.
yeah, and keep my love for that as well. That's what, obviously started me in this. So um yeah, but really building Empower Real Estate Group and just empowering more agents and therefore more clients. That's where I really see me
Absolutely.
taking this. So
I love that you are, and I'm not saying that most team leaders aren't like this, but in the industry, some of the people I've come across are very much like, this is mine. Everyone is very what's the word? But everyone just gets very like um controlling or nervous about that sharing
yeah.
aspect of the business, which is like, I always joke around. I was like, this is why, like, I think me and you were joking around about it, but I'm like, I love like everyone to like me. I don't like to fight. And
Yes.
which is hard, yeah, when you're like negotiating deals. But I love that kind of your passion for it is, hey, yeah, of course, we're all here to make more money, right? But
Yeah.
you seem to
It's the
really care.
collaboration over competition.
Right, right, and you're caring about, not only are you building wealth for your family, but now by your work, these agents are building wealth for their families, and
Yeah.
it's not just, you're not just, I didn't hear you mention once, even off here, even on the phone about like, well, they give me a 20-30% split, and so I use that. Like, I've never even heard you mention that once. Or about whatever money you make, I forgot what it's called, but whatever you make off of their downline, like
Yeah.
the
Oh,
amount of
revenue share.
revenue share.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard you mention that once, right? Which is a big, when I see people sharing about EXP, that's what a lot of them will talk about, right?
Yeah.
So I love that you kind of have that mindset. Okay, so really quick before we get to our rapid fire questions, um, realtor tips. Remind me of the
Oh,
name.
realtor hacks, tips, and tricks.
Realtor hacks, tips, and tricks. Look it up. Her
Yes.
social channels are Halle B. McCrory. You see it on the screen. And then at
Empower Real Estate Group.
Empower Real Estate Group, but don't put the O and the U in there because I
Yes.
emailed it to the wrong one one time.
Yes,
Don't
those
do
were
that.
taken sadly.
Yes, go ahead and follow her. And if you are interested in joining her team, you can reach out to her.
Yeah.
Give us your email address real quick, Halle, too.
It's Halle at Empower Real Estate Group, spelled just like my Instagram handle
GRP.
down there. Yeah, the GRP.
Yeah, so email her if you're thinking, maybe if you need extra support in your career. Obviously, she knows what she's doing. So whether you are, like we said, you can be anywhere in the
Yep.
country and then join her team.
No,
So
and yeah, we're in 23 different countries. So even if you're listening into this, depending on what country you're in,
I love that you are saying people are listening to me in other countries.
you never know. You
Yeah,
never
you
know,
never know.
Sarah.
I did have on my Instagram, I had a guy reach out to me. I thought it was spam because I'm always nervous about my account getting hacked.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
Yes.
and I had a guy who, like, heads up, I think, EXP Realty India, and he asked me if I would do, like, a workshop for their agents, and I was like, and his profile picture threw me off because it didn't look like, but I Googled him, and it was true, so let's see.
Yay,
I gave him my email,
awesome.
but he asked if I would do, like, a workshop for them, and I was like, "Okay,
Love
let's
it.
do it." Okay, so let's do real quick, rapid
Okay.
fire. Supra or lockbox?
Lockbox. Contractor lockbox.
That's what they said last week too, and I'm so surprised. Okay. Coffee or tea?
T.
Books or movies?
My heart says movies, but my brain says books.
Oh my gosh. And then are you a extrovert or introvert?
Ooh, I think a little bit of both because I'm definitely very extroverted, but I have that introvert in me where I need to recharge after that time.
Right. Yes, that's
So
what my sister says.
I think
Like,
truly, like, I think that means introvert, but
yeah.
I'm
It's a
definitely
the way
very
you
extroverted.
process things. Like, you could be very social, but the way you like process
Yes,
and
but I need that like recharge. Like that
yes.
definitely kind of drains my, not in a negative way, but drains my battery a little bit. I have
Yeah.
to recharge and have some alone time.
Right, right. Oh, I love it. Okay. Well, seriously, thank you so much for coming on. I so appreciate it. Before we go, hold on. I want to see these comments and see if there are any questions I forgot.
Okay.
Oh yes, someone said yes about how the group management is difficult. Okay,
Yeah.
so Ed basically love the show.
Love it.
I think this is, I don't know why I can't. Let me just double check and make sure I'm capturing everyone's thing. But basically, they're like, yes, girl.
Oh, yay. Thank you guys.
So they were saying, someone commented, okay, I can't see them here. Well, you'll go back and see them, but someone commented that yes to those SOPs. And I know I'm gonna let you go, but I know you mentioned automation, which is my love language because it's so true. When you are closing, or even in my little real estate career, like I found I would really kill it with the marketing, then I would get busy with the real estate, and then people would fall through the cracks because
Right.
I didn't have the right
Yeah.
system set up. So you got to have your business automated,
Yes.
which I
Yes.
love. I love that you mentioned that. All right. Well, thank you so much. Make sure
Thank
to
you,
go follow her,
Sarah.
listen to her podcast. I'll talk to you later.
Yes.
And I'll see you next time. Thank you so
Sounds
much.
good. Thank you.
Bye.